Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint-Germain family to the tactical preview of Paris Saint-Germain versus Tottenham Hotspurs. I make these ahead of the Paris Saint-Germain Champions League games. We'll see tactically how both teams will set up, what both teams' game plan is with the ball, without the ball, 1v1 situations, and basically everything. Let's do this. So, this is the predicted lineup right here from Tottenham Hotspurs. Vicario in goal, Danso, Van de Ven, and Romero as the three centre-backs, Pedro Porro and Udogie as the two full-backs or wing-backs, Bentancur and Palinia as the two double pivots, Xavi Simons and Kudus and Richarlison up top. There's been some other... I saw a report. I will go into more in depth in the preview tomorrow, but it's that Spurs could potentially play a 4-3-3 because, Thomas Frank would try something new out, but especially he's facing Paris Saint-Germain, one of the deadliest attacking teams in the world. Despite missing Dembele and Desiree Doué, I think he will do the same thing he did in the UEFA Super Cup. Paris Saint-Germain, on the other hand, Lucas Chevalier in goal. Actually, it's not Achraf Hakimi. Just realized that. It's going to be Warren Zaïre-Emery as the right back, Pacho, Nuno Mendes, Vitinha Neves, Fabian Ruiz. And here comes the interesting thing. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia is believed to be playing the false nine. This is my opinion from what we saw in the previous game versus Le Havre. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia came on as the false nine. We know Kangeli is going to play on the right. We know Barcola. He's a bit fluid. It could be maybe Barcola up top, Kvara on the wing. But because of that, I think Kvara is going to be the false nine. So now we have the two lineups for both teams. Spurs obviously playing a 5 at the back because they're Thomas Frank is a terrorist manager. What I mean by a terrorist manager is that he doesn't want to play football. He wants to win football games. There's a huge difference between playing football and, trying to win the game or get a point or not lose too much. I mean, that was basically his tactic versus Arsenal. Don't get embarrassed. And they still got embarrassed. They're going to pull up with the 5 at the back. And Paris Saint-Germain playing with their simple 4-3-3. So, first of all, take a look at when Paris Saint-Germain has the ball. I believe Spurs, just like in the UEFA Super Cup final, they will be sitting very deep. They may sit, won't necessarily maybe sit this deep, but they will always have their 5 at the back with the shield, and then, the fullbacks can push up a little bit. Maybe the wingers goes a little bit outside as well, and then Richarlison right here. So they're going to be just a frustrating side for Paris Saint-Germain to break down this game. And Paris Saint-Germain, they will be doing is two stuff. They will try to push Spurs back as much as possible and then play around them. The thing is, for example, we played against Bayern München, 10 men Bayern München sitting back, and we struggled the entire second half in creating chances. Yes, we got goal through Neves. Yes, maybe Neuer made some cheeky saves here and there, but Paris Saint-Germain did not do enough. So I think Spurs will be comfortable in sitting back against Paris Saint-Germain. For example, against Arsenal, there is the set piece there, even though, Arsenal broke the deadlock from a beautiful assist from Mikel Merino. So, as I said, Paris Saint-Germain is either that, or if Spurs are pushing up for a set piece or for a counter-attack or anything, we will have to counter as soon as possible. But if we're pushing them back, it's going to look like this. Pedro Porro right here, Udogie, Bentancur. And I want to look at what Paris Saint-Germain can do differently than in previous games. Kangeli will obviously try to be in a... I think Kudus, and they'll probably come more narrow, especially with Paris Saint-Germain playing the 4-3-3, Bentancur and Palinia as a shield in front of the defense, and then Kudus and Xavi right here. Kangeli will be operating in these spots when Paris Saint-Germain has the ball and are pushing Spurs back. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia will come to him because that will be a little bit harder. Bradley Barcola, depending on Nuno Mendes, could potentially be anywhere. Bradley Barcola could go more centrally into these spaces. We know he likes to occupy basically the striker positions. We do know that Barcola can hold the width. And we do know that Barcola can even be in the half space right here. But let's start with putting Barcola right here. When it comes to the midfield, Paris Saint-Germain obviously have a very fluid midfield, but it's most of the time it's going to be Vitinha as the deepest, Neves right here, and Fabian next to him. So very simple from Paris Saint-Germain. Warren Zaïre-Emery is obviously going to be playing as an unconventional right back, as they like to say it. But he will either be holding the flank or, because he's a natural midfielder, he will also want to be close to the center and make runs into this box. That's just like Achraf Hakimi. Warren will try to make runs either here between Danso and Udogie or between Danso and Van de Ven. Marquinhos obviously going to stay back. Pacho's going to stay back. Nuno Mendes, depending on how it looks, the game top and everything, Nuno Mendes could be pushing up and be in the half space. Paris Saint-Germain usually drop a midfielder because we're always going to have at least 3 players at the back. It could be Vitinha that drops, it could be Fabian Ruiz that drops, or it could be even Joao Neves that drops. Pacho is always there in the central area. Marquinhos is always defending the right flank, and we're going to have someone here. So Nuno can push up into the half space. Barcola could go into the half space. Nuno can hold the width. And then, as I mentioned, I haven't talked about Khvicha Kvaratskhelia yet because we've barely seen him as a false nine at Paris Saint-Germain, so it'll be really interesting. But he will basically have a very freedom-esque role. If you remember, the game versus Liverpool at the Parc des Princes, Liverpool were parking the bus the entire game, but Dembele was fluid. We saw Dembele off actions here on the left when Barcola fed him and Alisson made a great save. We saw him on the right when he cooked McAllister and Robbo, created a big chance for Joao Neves. And we even saw him in central areas when he nutmegged McAllister, took the long shot, and some other opportunities. So I think Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, he will obviously be the center player for Paris Saint-Germain, but we'll see a lot of fluidity to the right side, to the left side, and so on. When it comes to Spurs, when Paris Saint-Germain has the ball, it's quite easy. Close down the space. As you can see, make it congested. Make it filthy. They will unfortunately be having 1v1 situations on the wing because of how Paris Saint-Germain play. I mean, Porro is going to get destroyed. I hope Barcola is confident. He looked confident in the recent game. Removed the mustache, so maybe new confidence, Bradley Barcola. Nuno Mendes will obviously, he will eat Porro for breakfast, and he will eat him for dinner, and he will eat him during the sleep. So if Barcola, is on fire as well, it could be a very long night for Pedro Porro on this left side. When it comes to the right side, Kangin Lee, honestly, he's a very good dribbler. He was the best dribbler in La Liga, actually, when we got him from Mallorca. But maybe it's, La Liga players are easier to dribble past because most of them, are Spanish twinks. But I think a lot of it has to do because Kangin Lee at Mallorca and at Valencia and even in the South Korean national teams plays more in central positions. And when you play in central positions and you want to dribble, dribbling is basically the only important thing. But when you're trying to dribble on the wing, because the opponent will always stay back, in the center, they have to attack you. But on the wing, you need that pace. So I don't think we're going to see that much, Kangin Lee, cooking a doggy and going inside. We're going to see more Kangin Lee getting the ball, feeding the players around him. And always, he loves to put in the crosses right here where, Paris Saint-Germain don't operate with a striker. But we could see Barcola making a run. And then our danger, let's keep the 2 centre-backs here. Our danger, our top scorer this season, Joao Neves. It wouldn't surprise me if he scores again. I think he has 6 goals in his last 5 games for Paris Saint-Germain and Portuguese national team. Scored 2 hat-tricks this season. So I could definitely see Joao Neves popping up into these spaces. So Kangin Lee will mostly be crosses. Nuno Mendes is also an elite crosser, so we'll be looking for that. But both him and Barcola can cook Porro right here. Nuno, as I mentioned, can also stay in the inside pockets. He maybe receives a pass from Neves right here and, tries to go inside, tries to find someone, maybe cooks Romero, goes inside. So it'll be very dangerous more off the left. And then Kvara, we'll see what he does. As I said, I have obviously high expectations. He's my ones to watch. He's the player I have most expectation in the attack going into this game and, GA-wise for Paris Saint-Germain this game. But it's a little bit unpredictable even for me because we just haven't seen Khvicha Kvaratskhelia play as a false nine for Paris Saint-Germain. But what we did see in the recent game versus Le Havre, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia attempted 5 shots versus Le Havre in barely 25 minutes of play. And that's still the most shots he's taken so far this season. So I'm expecting Khvicha Kvaratskhelia to at least get a goal. I think he's going to take a lot of shots, probably he's going to take the most shots at Paris Saint-Germain in this game. And that's going to be huge. So I think it's mostly going to be a goal scorer. Maybe Nuno tries to find Kvara in these positions. Maybe Kangin Lee. Also, what we did see in the Le Havre game was Kvara sometimes dropping next to Barcola, playing 1-2s. He will drop, next to Kangin Lee, play 1-2s. Maybe goes inside. He scored some bangers, so wouldn't surprise me. And Vitinha just dictating the game. Fabian Ruiz, we haven't even discussed Fabian. He will be an underrated genius in this game. When they're playing like this, Fabian Ruiz, madre mia. Madre mia, Fabian Ruiz. That's the thing. Fabian Ruiz is a player I don't really have to say that. He's just a genius. But what Fabian Ruiz will do if Spurs are sitting back or when Spurs will sit back like this is, try to find the players or do something himself. Now moving on to when it's the opposite. When Paris Saint-Germain, we will never really sit back. All right. So let's start like this. Let's start like this instead. Spurs has the ball with Vicario. Because PSG will not sit back. Obviously, there will be some occasions when Spurs has the ball in our own half and we're, in our defensive side, but majority of the game when Spurs has the ball, Paris Saint-Germain will be pressing really tight. I think Kangeli will go a bit more inside, Warren Holtz out with, Khvicha here, Barcola here, probably maybe Fabian there, Vitinha. All of these going to stay close. Richarlison is obviously going to be more up top. Then it's going to be Nuno Kudos, which I'm very excited to watch again. And then we're going to have Xavi Marquinhos here. Oh, Marquinhos, Paca him. And then Richarlison, Pacho right here. So it's basically a man mark. Yeah, I mean, it is a man mark pressing. And I think that's what Paris Saint-Germain are going to do. I think the intensity levels in the recent game versus Le Havre was really good, which gives us a good indication that Paris Saint-Germain's press will be better this game. Paris Saint-Germain's press has been good this season, but it can obviously be better. And I feel really confident when it comes to our press going into this game. Spurs, the issue with Spurs, they don't have a 6. I mean, Bentancur is a box-to-box that, sometimes occasionally wants to get the ball in these positions, but they need someone that can drop deep. I mean, their centre-backs are not going to do that. Van de Ven obviously can take the ball and make his runs, as we've seen previously, but I mean, it's Paris Saint-Germain. It's not Copenhagen. Maybe Richarlison tries to drop. They could potentially play long balls. I mean, Richarlison is not the worst, target man to play long balls to, but I mean, look who's behind him. William Pacho. Kudos, very great player, but he's going to face up Nuno Mendes, one of the best players in the world. Marquinhos, Xavi. Marquinhos, probably his major weakness is, because he's getting a little bit older, he's not the quickest, but it's not like Xavi has some electric speed. So it will definitely have to be Spurs fullbacks pushing up and giving the width to Spurs in this game because... Kudos, he's going to have Nuno on him. He can try, obviously, his best and so on, but Paris Saint-Germain press, I think Paris Saint-Germain's press could really suffocate Tottenham Hotspurs in this game. Let's take a look if Spurs actually dare to press Paris Saint-Germain. I don't remember them pressing us at all in the UEFA Super Cup game, but maybe they will try to press us this game. Let's see how that will go. So here are the Paris Saint-Germain players. Let's give the ball to Lucas Chevalier, Richarlison, Kudos, Xavi, Bentancur, Paulinho. Okay, so Van de Ven probably the center is going to be on Khvicha. Danso probably on Lee. Romero maybe staying right here with Van de Ven, creating a 2. Pedro Porro right here. Richarlison probably going to be here, ready for the 2 center-backs. Bentancur, both behind them. Again, Fabian becomes the open man right here. Maybe Romero pushes down. Yeah, like this. Kangeli goes a little bit more inside. Oh, no, Idogi is an open man here. Maybe Xavi presses there. Could be like this. Spurs could do a man-to-man press. I mean, that's what most pressing teams do, especially Premier League pressing teams. What Paris Saint-Germain will be wanting in a situation like this is, first of all, Chevalier. He's good on the ball, so hopefully he can help us in that way, finding passes. Then Bradley Barcola can make runs and so on. But obviously, our cheat code during build-up is this dude, Nuno Mendes. Because Nuno can get the ball from Chevalier. He can send Kudos some way. And then pop, it's open. It's that easy. Then obviously we have Khvicha Kvaratskhelia who I expect to drop into positions if Spurs are pressing us strongly. Kvara could drop here. Van de Ven could try to follow him, but again, that would open up the space in the central area for Barcola to run into. So we could see maybe Chevalier has the ball. He's looking for someone. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia makes himself available. Van de Ven follows him, and then Barcola goes. And Porro is not going to catch up to Barcola. So I think that's going to be an interesting way for Paris Saint-Germain to play. Could obviously, maybe Spurs won't play as an intensive of a press. Maybe they still try to keep their 3 at the back. So maybe Xavi drops. Yeah, it could be like this. Or maybe Xavi on Vitinha. No. Xavi on Neves, Bentancur, Vitinha. Could be like this. Only 2 centre-backs, and then obviously Chevalier gives it to Marquinhos. And we have a numerical advantage if Spurs press is not going to be as intense as I showed in the previous slide. And here it should be calm, especially with our midfield. Kangin Lee as well is going to be very good. I mentioned Khvicha Kvaratskhelia dropping deep. Kangin Lee will also drop deep to these areas. Dansu can follow him, but Kangin Lee has really great ball retention. So it's like we have a 4-man midfield. So even if Spurs decide to press us, depending on how intensely, I still think we're confident. I think when Spurs are being pressed, that's going to be tough for Tottenham Hotspurs. As we saw in the UEFA Super Cup game, Spurs barely created anything. I mean, I think Spurs are definitely going to be dangerous from set pieces. They're going to abuse every single set piece they get. They're going to abuse every single throw-in they get. Both of their goals last time came from set pieces. That's definitely going to be majority of their attacking game plan. You know, Thomas Frank, I mean, he's a set piece terrorist, so I think that's what he's going to unfortunately be aiming for offensively. Apart from that, it's definitely when Paris Saint-Germain are pushing up, as I showed before, Spurs will be looking to counter. They did look to counter sometimes in the previous game, didn't lead to anything big, but they can definitely be a little bit dangerous. If Kudos beats Nuno, you know, there's a lot of space here. Pacho Richarlison, but we 1v1. Marquinhos will have to come back to recover. Fabian is not the best recoverer. Bradley Barcola loves to recover on the left side if anything bad happens to Nuno Mendes. So we may see maybe even like this, maybe more like 2v2, 3v3 situations, because Paris Saint-Germain plays very open with a high line, and this is where we expect our defenders to be able to defend in space and Chevalier to make the saves that he would need to make. Because last time, yes, they scored from 2 set pieces, but I mean, basically both of them were also Chevalier mistakes, so if he improves his level, it will be even tougher for Spurs to score. So summarizing it, offensively for Spurs, I think it's going to be really hard for them to score goals, as it was last time, as it's been for them this season. Defensively, I think they could be somewhat tough because they will be sitting with a 5 at the back and a 2-man double pivot shield right in front of them to cover their space. But Spurs, I think, have conceded the most goals in the Premier League so far this season, conceded 4 goals versus Arsenal in the most recent game. So defensively, it doesn't look the best either. Paris Saint-Germain defensively, I think it's going to be good. We're usually a good defensive side, and we're not coming up against some insane attack. Not in the best form either. And then offensively for Paris Saint-Germain, I think we're going to be good. I think Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, Bradley Barcola, it all depends on them because, you know, we're still missing Ousmane Dembele and Desiree Doué, 2 key players in the attack. But I'm expecting Khvicha to have a good game, Barcola, and Kangili. Kangili is actually in really great form. His past 4 games, he's been very important and huge importance in the GA he's received. And then Paris Saint-Germain, this is the big thing. We'll finally have our best midfield 3 back for the first time since the Atalanta game. And we actually didn't have our midfield 3 for the UEFA Super Cup game. I remember, yeah, it was a Vitinha, Warren, Zaire, Emery double pivot in the UEFA Super Cup game with 4 attackers. So I think Paris Saint-Germain are going to be more balanced. They're in better form, better intensity than the UEFA Super Cup game. And yeah, that finishes it off. I enjoy to do these videos because then, you know, I will see stuff that I can later on look if I watch and find in the games. And same goes for you guys. Maybe you will find some stuff here that you remember. Oh, that's what PSG said in his video and so on. But yeah, that's been it from boy PSG. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed this tactical preview of Paris Saint-Germain versus Tottenham Hotspurs. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez Paris.